So good morning. I'm going to start up front because yesterday I tried to make it retroactive, but it didn't really work. This is an employee meeting, off the record, internal. We're going to share a lot of information, so I don't want to see it going outside and read about it in Philly Magazine or hear about it in KYW, et cetera. I try to do it retroactive. It didn't quite work yesterday. So this is what we're trying to do, is share information with the key players of our company, all of our employees, so you know what we're doing. So I would like to keep it internal. Our competitors, I don't want to read and hear about this. Really appreciate you all joining us this morning and coming down to hear what they have to say. The purpose of these meetings, this is our third now, is really to make sure that everyone in the company understands what we're really trying to do and where our focus is on making us successful. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to show you a short video on our vision. We're going to give some details of our research by Al Quinlan, who's from Quinlan and Greenberg Company, who did our research. I'm going to talk about the key elements of our priorities and strategies as we move the company forward. Bob Cawthorn, our digital consultant, will talk about up on .com and update on Philly.com as well as the newspapers.com. George Loesch, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Advertising, is going to talk about advertising and circulation. Mike Larenka, our Associate Publisher and COO, is going to talk about operations. Then towards the end, we're going to have comments from three of our owners, Louis Katz, Bill Inkowski, and George Norcross. And then we'll open it up to questions for you. So let me start out. What I'd like to do is just sort of give you a capsule view of our company, how everything is interrelated, and what we need to do in terms of being successful. It all starts with content, and the content is the great content we produce in the Inquirer, the Daily News, other media partners, and outside content, whether we purchase or partner, et cetera. The content flows into our three major brands, Inquirer, Philly.com, and the Daily News. From those brands, we put out a variety of products, print and digital, and the purpose is to put out the products to reach a variety of audiences. And we do have a variety of audience out there, readers, viewers, young, old, et cetera. And all our products and our brands are geared to reach those audiences. And then if we're successful, what we want to do is generate revenue from these audiences, from those people that are seeking the audience. So it'll be advertising revenue, circulation revenue, sponsorships, transactional fees, digital fees, or revenue sharing agreements. Because the backbone of our company is going to bring the revenue in, and the way we're going to do it is generate the audience that these advertisers and spenders want to utilize. So let's start out now with a short video. We're probably going to be here over an hour. If you're standing in the back, want to come up, there's some seats up here. It might be more comfortable for you, so you can just wander up if you want to. We want to start out and really talk about the market research that we conducted last fall, and we engaged the firm of Greenberg and Quinlan, and Al Quinlan in particular, who went through our marketplace and conducted extensive research of our customers, readers, et cetera, Philly.com newspapers, as well as non-customers, non-readers, and really find out what are they saying about our products, both those that use it and those that don't. In order, we wanted to find out what do we need to change or what do we need to improve to make our products more successful in the marketplace. So let me turn it over to Al to give you a summary of that research.
Thank you, Bob. Before I start, let me just mention a few points on the scope of the research. It was a huge body of work that we did last summer. It was conducted through August and September. We did 4 telephone surveys, one of the general market pertaining to the Inquirer, one of the general market pertaining to the Daily News, one of the online market for Philly.com, and then a 4th survey of subscribers to the Inquirer and former subscribers to the Inquirer. And we also conducted focus groups, which are 2-hour small group discussions among about 170 people in the Philly area. And the research was very revealing in terms of there being some tremendous assets and attributes on which to build, but also some areas in which to change. So let me just start by talking about the market for a second. And I'm going to move through this quickly. I could show a lot of research. I could go on for a long time, but we've got limited time. First, what are people looking for in news? We asked people, now I want to read you a list of specific areas and tell me if you look for this type of information on a daily basis, a weekly basis, once in a while, or not at all. And these are data points for people who look for different types of information on a daily basis, which is what we're really looking for. And as you can see, what came through in the focus groups and the polling, local news, 54%. More than half of the people look for something every day. National news, 52%. Politics, 40%. Sports, 30%. Among men, sports was right up in the top tier. And then on down the line. But the point I want to really make here that came through very clearly is there was a tremendous thirst, particularly for local news, neighborhood news, regional coverage, regional information that's specific to where they live, areas that are like there's the Philly area. The other thing that came through that isn't on here is coupons were not something people look for on a daily basis. It's not on the slide here because it was scored very low, but on a weekly basis, it scored near the top. And it was clear in the research that people look for the coupons in a way that's very important. Now let me talk about the Inquirer and perceptions of the Inquirer. This is data on readership of the overall market. And as you can see, 42% say they read the Inquirer either on a daily basis or a weekly basis. On the left, 15% read it on a daily basis. So you could say, well, there's some good news there. Almost half the people are reading on a weekly basis, but also only 1 out of 7 are reading it on a daily basis. And there are a couple distinctions that I think everybody knows, but the data was really compelling. People over 50 are reading it. You've got 30% of seniors who are reading on a daily basis. You've got 4% of people under 30 are reading on a daily basis. So you've got tremendous growth opportunities, particularly with people under the age of 50. Now we asked people how satisfied they were. And we asked people generally, are you satisfied? On a 0 to 10 scale, how satisfied are you with the Inquirer? 0 meaning completely dissatisfied, 10 meaning very satisfied. This data represents people who gave either an 8, 9, or 10 score to reflect their satisfaction level, which indicates a very satisfied. I'm feeling very good about it. 42%. And these are readers. 42% of your readers said I'm very satisfied, which is an okay rating, but it's not a tremendously positive rating. 52% of people read the paper frequently, are very satisfied. But as you can see on the far right, only 8% of people who are reading the paper infrequently, less than once a week, are satisfied with it. So there's a lot of room for growth. Now we asked people a series of subject matters, and we asked them how they would rate the Enquirer's coverage in each of those areas. And these data points are reflective of what we call an excellent rating. Again, which we think is the measure that we want to strive for. And I'd make a couple points on this. First of all, as you can see, the highest is 27%. So there's a lot of room for growth. And what we saw in the qualitative research, the focus group discussions, was that there was generally favorable impressions toward the content in the Enquirer, but it wasn't very favorable. It didn't have a lot of intensity to it. But what stands out is sports, local news, and coupons, which came up constantly in the focus group discussions as areas where people tended to give the paper's coverage the highest ratings. Crime and safety, local events, opinions, national and world were in the middle tier. But obviously you can see there's tremendous room for growth here in terms of people saying, yeah, they're excellent, they're terrific, they're really doing a good job. Then we asked a series of attributes. And we asked people which ones, we asked people which ones they associate with the Enquirer. And there's some good news here and there's some not so good news. The good news is you have a tremendous brand built on accuracy, trustworthiness, well written, quality of the work is very, very good. Current. Where it begins to slip, particularly for non-readers, and we're trying to focus a lot on non-readers, is, in terms of growing, is if you see in the yellow, covers topics I care about, there's almost a 50% difference between people who read it and people who don't read it. And if you go down to the bottom, relevance, which came through repeatedly and comes through in all the research on news sources, 64% say you're relevant, only 68% of your subscribers say you're relevant. So there's a gap there between what they're looking for and what they're getting. That's important to fill. Excuse me. Then we asked some negative attributes. We said, which of these describe the Enquirer? As you can see, the scores are very low, which is good. But there are a couple that are problematic. The first one, too many sections that I don't read. And if you look all the way to the far right, former subscribers, more than half of former subscribers said, yeah, that describes them. They just had too many sections I didn't read, and in some ways saying there wasn't information there I didn't want to read. Too many ads, which comes up all the time in any research you do, but also biased, not a huge point, but not an unimportant point. There was a sense through the qualitative research and the quantitative research that the organization is biased and can be more even-handed in terms of its political view, I think. Now, when we asked people who did not like the paper, okay, you said you're dissatisfied. Why are you dissatisfied? 40% say it's essentially not interesting. There wasn't information there I wanted to read, wasn't relevant to me. Which is a huge number. 20% said it's biased, which is number 2. And then 12% said I just didn't read it. Just don't read it, which is another way of saying it's not particularly relevant to me. But basically, people are saying it's not particularly interesting to me. And then when you look at subscribers, former subscribers, we asked them, okay, you stopped getting the paper. Why? 23% said customer service. I went away, they didn't cut off my service, they overbilled me, I don't get the bills on time, paper's in the bushes, it doesn't arrive on time, all sorts of service issues. 19% on the right said I just wasn't reading it. Again, wasn't interesting to me, wasn't reading it. 18% said I had a life experience, acute hardship, economics came into play. But I want to make the point on the 15%. Only 15% said, oh, I went somewhere else for the information. People didn't flock to the internet to get away from the Inquirer, to get it for free. 1 out of 7 said that's why I stopped getting it, because I could get the information I wanted somewhere else. So it wasn't being pushed out by online services, it was being pushed out by other factors that it can control. Daily news, just under half of the market reads it sometime, 48%. 31% reads it on a weekly or daily basis, and 11% read it on a daily basis. But what came through in the research is we asked people, readers and non-readers, their opinions of it. And we did in focus groups. People who read the daily news love it. No, they think, I mean, it's part of their lifestyle, it's the city, it's part of where they live. They have a very deep connection to it. As you can see, the favorable-unfavorable ratio for readers is 65 to 14%, which is very high. The ratio of people who are not reading is much lower. And what we found was readers find it easy to understand, easy to read the layout, consistent, to the point, we heard that all the time. And another point I just mentioned, fun and enjoyable. 80% of the readers found it fun and enjoyable. But if you get to the bottom on the right in the yellow, you can see that the gap between frequent readers and the infrequent readers was based a lot on being made for people like me, relevant to me. Again, relevant. So there are ways to sort of boost that up. But this is, I think, the most important data point on the daily news. Heard it in focus groups. People didn't like the fact that it seems to portray too much negativity. It isn't very positive. And it wasn't, people don't express this in the manner of saying, I don't want to know the truth. I don't want to know if there's crime happening. But they don't like being blasted with it on the front page every day. And particularly, if you look in the middle, never show African Americans in a positive light. We picked this up in the focus group, so we put it in the poll. 42% of frequent daily news readers said that's true, and 45% of infrequent readers. So there's a clear perception that too many mugshots, not enough aspirational stories is a very important area to focus on. Philly.com, I'll just do this really quickly. We asked people what they go to Philly.com, what are the best things about it? And it's local coverage, dining and entertainment, easy to use for some folks, but it's really about local coverage, and also breaking news was coming through in the focus groups. What we found last summer is being corrected is that not so much the content, but that it's too cluttered, tough to navigate, not really easy to get to the information I'm really looking for. And a lot of steps are being taken on that already. And then we explored the notion that, okay, maybe people are stopping reading the Inquirer because they know that they can go to Philly.com to get all that information. Almost 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 people in each focus group knew that was the case. Most people don't even know that. So we asked people in the poll, name the primary Philadelphia website, Philadelphia Inquirer website, and only 1 out of 5 named Philly.com. So there's not a well-developed perception of the crossover between these two. Path forward, some recommendations real quickly. Philly.com site, this was last year again. Site needed a major overhaul, which is ongoing, cutting the clutter, improving navigation, prioritizing calendar of events. People really want to go and see, oh, what's going on in the weekend, easily, whether it's South Philly, the suburbs. All things Philly. The potential here is tremendous, that this site should be a all things Philly, breaking news, sports, entertainment, dining, quick, rapidly changing. Separate the Inquirer, daily news from Philly.com. The evidence was clear in all of the research that each of the three can stand on their own and can work on their own without without compromising the others. Daily news, adjust the content to be less depressing. I talked about that. It's what people told us. Create a website that matches the paper's brand and aesthetic. This is happening. The website looks great, by the way. It really looks terrific. And then invest in building the brand by marketing the paper a little bit, which really hasn't happened. The Inquirer, refocus on things that matter the most to people. This doesn't mean eliminate other sections completely, but high quality investigative local reporting. More rapid fire investigative reporting. People want to see stories regularly about what's happening and uncovering problems and uncovering issues that they're interested in. Local information, community news. They want to hear what's going on in the area, whether it's in the suburbs, whether it's in South Jersey, wherever. Coupons are not unimportant. They're extremely important. And generating more coupons and elevating that is very important. And then a consumer section is something people are really looking for. Editorials, candidate endorsements, opinions, columnists were important to people, but they aren't as important as some of these other things. So it's all a question of priorities and making sure that we're able to get both into what people are hearing. They were clearly looking for something that connects with them in a local way. And in South Jersey, people in South Jersey don't think the South Jersey section is a South Jersey section, or was then. So they want to see real news and more news. Finally, fix the service issues. Create a website that matches a paper's brand aesthetic, which is going to happen and can be very powerful. So I'll just close by saying there are huge opportunities here. All three of these can grow without stepping on the other and hurting the other. The Inquirer is trusted. People want it. I mean, I've sat in focus groups for organizations and institutions, and people said, "I'm done. Like I don't trust them. I don't care about them. I don't believe them." That's not the case here. They trust the source. They want it, and they'll pay for it. You know, you just had a pay increase, and they're going to see statistics later on that. But they want it to be more relevant to them. Philly.com, all things Philly, very powerful. And then the daily news, more fun and aspirational, is really a big key for them. So I'm going to stop there and turn it back to Bob Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. And based on the research, collective knowledge of our market and our industry, and a lot of conversation with management, we have established what we think are our main priorities to make our company grow and be successful for the future. So I want to share those with you. So the first one, which is obviously we have to have great products for our readers and advertisers. This is absolutely essential. This is the backbone. But they must be evolving and changing. Status quo of our products is not acceptable. It will not work long term. We must drive revenue growth. We have to find new ways for revenue, whether it be print or digital. We have to expand our existing sources of revenue and create new products for our customers to utilize one of our revenue-generating vehicles. We also have to do a better job of really measuring our success and be willing to adapt to what that measurement says. As an organization, we must be ready to change, and sometimes quickly, our products, our structure, our methods, or even our strategies if we're going to be successful. We must also grow traditional print circulation and revenue. To do this, it's really essential. One, we improve our newspapers reflecting what the customers and non-customers are saying. We do a much more effective job of marketing, and you'll hear a little more about that. We have to improve our customer service, and we have to deliver the print audience that our advertisers want. That is probably the most important challenge of our priorities. As you heard about the importance of Philly.com, we need to expand and improve Philly.com. Philly.com must continue and actually grow and become the dominant site in this marketplace. It is not a newspaper site. It is a dominant website. We have to continue to add new content and features to it. We have to expand the markets we're trying to reach. We have been successful early on in growing unique visitors, but have to accelerate that substantially. And we have to provide opportunities for digital revenue generation. We're also launching this week, we did, in fact, as a beta, the new newspaper sites, the Inquirer.com and PhillyDailyNews.com. What we want on these sites is to be a great customer experience, a great reader experience. They're going to be paid websites, but we want to increase, by having a great site, increase the retention of our customers for both the Inquirer and Daily News, our reading customers. And also, we have to expand the commercial printing and distribution part of our business. We have to utilize our excess capacity at our plant. We have to utilize our resources, our people, and expertise. And from this side business, we have to generate new revenues and some profits. So if we're able to achieve these priorities, which I think are essential if we want our company to grow, to become more profitable, to be essential in this marketplace as valuable products, and most importantly, be the dominant player in this market for a long time. So our strategies that we're implementing and following to achieve these priorities is really quite simple, but it does require everyone in the company to be sort of being focused on the same objectives, and that's sort of the purpose of sharing those with you. Strategy number one, backbone of our business, increase total revenue, all sources of revenue, print, digital, supplemental, commercial, whatever the case may be. Number two, we must give our customers, readers, viewers, or advertisers, what they want, when they want it, how and where they want it, if we're going to reach those audiences that I mentioned to you at the very first slide. We clearly have to increase the profitability, which is essential to provide the resources that we need to grow and reinvest in our company, whether it be for marketing or growth initiatives. We also have to become far more effective in telling the marketplace about our products, whether it be print, digital, or the services that we offer. We have to do this through effective marketing. Most of you know we've been doing a lot of marketing via our newspapers, but we're talking to our customers. We're not talking to the marketplace. And you'll hear a little bit more from George Lose about the TV campaign. And finally, we have to continue to maintain very tight control of our costs and expenditures to be a fiscally sound organization. So we're a fiscally sound organization and work on the other strategies, achieve our priorities. I'm really optimistic about where this company can be in the future, and particularly the long term of the future. Now I want to get into a couple more specifics about certain areas. So first I want to ask Bob Cawthorn, who's our digital strategy consultant, to come up and talk about our digital plan and the .coms. Bob?
Thank you, Bob. I want to stress something before we dive into this, and that's what you heard something remarkable from Bob, and you're going to hear it from the entire ownership and management team here, and that's that across America, and I work all over the place, across America, newspapers are talking about managing decline. We're talking about growing, and I want to stress that if everybody works as a single team here, we can grow this place very aggressively. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to help with that on the digital side. Whoops, wrong direction. Talking about growing, and I immediately go in the wrong direction. All right, let's talk a little bit about Philly.com milestones and progress, and then we're going to get into how we're approaching the newspaper sites and what our overall vision is. In February, we saw our second highest local reach. We were just 28,000 readers off of the Hurricane Sandy highs in October. Philly.com is categorically the top local media site in the marketplace. However, we still think we're about half of where we should be just to be healthy. So we've got a lot of ambitious goals. As of February for locals, Philly.com is the 23rd most used internet site of any type. That includes eBay, Amazon, everybody else. And I want to point out to you that Philly.com is more used among locals in this audience than Twitter is. You think, Twitter's a big deal? We're bigger than Twitter, bigger than Craigslist, bigger than the New York Times, Yelp, etc. So we've got a lot of opportunity because we're only half the size we think we should be. In February, we reached the 12th largest newspaper website overall in the country, newspaper affiliated website, and the 7th among pure metro sites. Those are also highs. In January and February, Philly.com passed NewJersey.com for the very first time in its history. Now, we're going to trade spots with them for a little while, but by the summertime, we'll be consistently ahead of them. And I want you to think about what that means. That means that Philly.com is the largest, has the largest reach in Pennsylvania of any website, has the largest reach in New Jersey of any website, and will soon have the largest reach, it actually currently has the largest reach in Maryland as well. We can be something that no one's ever done before. We can be a true regional, multi-regional website which turns into a national advertising buy, because once we have the New Jersey, the Pennsylvania, the Maryland, and of course Delaware audiences together, we've got 8% of the US population, and we're the dominant site. That is very powerful stuff. So, since the Philly.com redesign, big sections, important sections, revenue generating sections have seen substantial growth. One of the traps that we had in the old view was that we were trading too much on just crime and photo galleries and things like that. So we've really been focusing on trying to grow the readership in individual sections. Business is up 77%, entertainment, this is as of February, entertainment up 24% year over year, sports is up 32, health is up 88, food is up 52, living up 30, and we considered February a soft month. We were not even satisfied. We felt, it's kind of a lukewarm month. We've got very, very big ambitions. Our Philly.com initiative of New Voices has broadened the number of people and the people who are involved in the site. We're trying to reach out into the community, represent different demographics, and we have very broad partnerships that we're establishing with other content providers in order to become the true portal that we think we can be. Our core digital goals. We need to establish Philly.com as the preeminent regional portal, and this is IGM's primary digital play. We need to double Philly.com's local market reach. We're not where we need to be right now. We need to substantially grow our revenues, as well as use Philly.com as an offensive weapon to attract competitors, readers, and advertising dollars. I want you to think about this. We all talk about how scary digital is. Why don't we go scare somebody else with our digital? We've got the dominant site. Why don't we look at the magazines and say, anybody who's advertising on a magazine should be our advertiser. Anybody who's on radio should be our advertiser. Why don't we go and be aggressive rather than be defensive? And that's exactly the positioning that we're taking. And lastly, we need to be addictive and essential to readers. We're establishing Inquirer.com and PhillyDailyNews.com in the replica editions. I'm going to talk briefly about the replicas as compelling membership and engagement vehicles. You see this over and over again in Al's research, which is really important stuff. People love these products. They love this print product. They have a great appreciation of it. They love the concept of it, but the reality of it doesn't quite work for them. Okay? We have a chance to tighten our bond with our readers and our advertisers in a way that we haven't had before, and we're going to launch these sites as a means of improving retention and improving the relationship, the intimacy of the relationship with these readers. Meanwhile, I must tell you that the replica product has massively outperformed any of our expectations. Part of that is because of iPad usage and whatnot, but the replica has just taken off like a rocket. George Loesch will talk a little bit more about that. Our primary focus on the digital place is to buttress the print products. The reason is this: as you'll see momentarily, we've got all sorts of evidence that indicates that the print products have got a lot more legs than we think. We just need to position them properly and make product adjustments. And lastly, we're going to use this as a bridge to serve readers who don't use print 7 days a week. 85% of Inquirer readers do not read the Inquirer, if the market does not read the Inquirer every day. 85%. Now, if we can use the .coms to bridge that readership, then all of a sudden we've got a real value offering for the customers. The newspaper sites maintain the reliable, familiar voices. Look, Philly.com doesn't look like the Inquirer, nor should it. The Inquirer should look like the Inquirer. The daily news presence is the daily news presence. You all see how warm people feel about the daily news. Philly.com, Inquirer, and DailyNews.com will all have their unique voices. They'll all have their unique styles. Philly.com will continue to build its own unique voice, and it will pursue its own future without having to just focus on what the newspapers need. The newspaper sites will focus on reviving that link between the readers and the newsrooms, and in everything we do, the goal is to build that more intimate relationship. Revenue. We're going to bundle, we already are bundling our offerings so we can be a one-stop shop for advertisers who want to reach the largest audience. When you combine all of our products, we call it Big Philly, when you combine all of our products, nobody comes close to matching us today. No audit, you cannot buy a better advertising buy in this marketplace today. Now, that's at our weakest point. When we hit the strength that we think is our future, we'll be absolutely, overwhelmingly dominant, and we will be a regional buy on digital in a way we can't. If I want to go to Coca-Cola and I say, by the way, I control 8% of the US population as the largest site, Coca-Cola starts to pay attention suddenly for Philly.com. This is an exciting prospect. We can be a true regional site. We will use digital as an offensive weapon, and we will position ourselves to reach those regional ones. Here's why it's vital. The internet is not your problem. We've got this great myth. Remember, Al's research shows categorically, people aren't replacing print readership with the internet. This is one of the great myths in the industry. For the last 60 years, this trouble's been brewing. We need to reconnect with our audience. This is actually sort of, for some reason, it's hard to read on this. This is a graph of the US population. That's the red bar. And the blue bar is aggregate Sunday national newspaper readership. From 1940 on the left-hand side, all the way, the last three are 2007 through 2009. The Newspaper Association of America stopped reporting this in 2009 because the number was too depressing. Now you'll see that the population takes off, but newspaper circulation stays stagnant for 60+ years. We've been losing our hold on the audience for a very long time. We have a chance to reignite that relationship with the audience. As a practical matter, washing machines went like this with the population. Cars went like this with the population. Everything else went up with the population. We've been losing ground for 60 years. We have a chance to change that, and we will. We're the largest in this market, but 75 to 80% of this market does not read the Inquirer on a daily basis. 74% does not use Philly.com. We have to reignite those relationships. It's an old site. People have made decisions. They've said, oh, 3 years ago somebody said, it is not working for me. We have to lure them back now. It's a process of, it's almost a process of seduction with the reader. The Daily News has lost its audience, but its audience loves it. Let's go get them back. And our advertisers find it too easy to overlook us. Now, I want you to think about this. You don't have a technology problem. Everybody says the internet did this, the internet did this. Since 2010, 470,000 people made the radical decision of taking print. They said, I want a print subscription. 470,000 people said, I want a print subscription. iPad existed, iPhone existed, the internet existed, Philly.com was giving away stories on the internet, and yet 471,000 people said, I want print. Unfortunately, 508,000 people got it for at least 8 weeks, and they said, it doesn't work so much for me. We've got a product that we can fix. If everybody in this room puts their oars in the water, we can fix this product, because if you kept those people, you would be at record circulation levels. Everybody who says, and this gets back to Bob's point, everybody who says that newspapers are dead is making it up. Because as a practical matter, people want us, they just want us to be relevant to them, getting back to Al's point. So think about that. They wanted print, they asked for print, they got print, and after 8 weeks they said, no, I don't want it. We can change this. This is all within our control. We just have to be willing to do it. They want us, they like the concept. We just need to fix the, oh, I got a typo there. We just need to fix the products. In broad terms, we have to readdress every element of our print products. And at the same time, we're going to use the newspaper.com sites, the Inquirer and the Philly Daily News, to reignite that close relationship with the reader by commenting, by all sorts of engagement functionality. Philly.com will address the wider goals. Let Philly.com go fight with Twitter for advertising dollars, because we can do that there. And meanwhile, the other sites will focus on the print reader. And in everything we do and say, we have to concentrate on engagement, 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 relevance, relevance, relevance. We can fix this. This is within our control. There's not a piece of our problems that we're facing that are not within our control if we decide to change. We know we got here by doing the same old thing over and over again. Now it's time to do something new. All right, and with that, I'd like to give you more good news by introducing George Loesch, who is the Senior Vice President for Circulation and Advertising and Marketing. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to provide an update on advertising and circulation, the importance to the company, where we are, what are we doing, and our key initiatives. As Bob stated in his opening slides, revenue is very, very important to the company, both on ad revenue and circulation revenue. Together, they are 92% of the company's revenue, with advertising being 53% and circulation revenue being 39% of the company's revenue. So what does IGM need to do to grow in this evolving and challenging news media landscape? We need to produce high-quality, compelling products that readers demand. Number two, we produce products that need to be marketed just as well, if not better, than any other product. And we need to strategically transition to the future, which means improving our advertising and circulation strategies and show advertisers and consumers that we are a forward-thinking and diversified media company. Well, in the sports world, winning takes care of everything, and that holds true in ad revenue. Advertising revenue takes care of everything. The sales team has restructured and refocused for more accountability. Two key leaders are Steve Alessi, VP Major Accounts and Digital, and Tony Cuffey, Vice President Local Retail Classified. Under Steve's leadership is Meredith Heller, Director Major Primary Digital Accounts, and Carol Dooling, Director of Agencies and Print Primary. Under Tony is Dave Baldwin, Director of Local Retail and Auto, and Tim Gersmeyer, Classified Business Development Director. And the sales team is transitioning to a winning can-do attitude, from we've never done it before to we have the opportunity to be first, from it's good enough to there's always room for improvement, to from we're understaffed, we're a lean machine, to from it can't be done till it'll be a challenge, to I don't have any idea, I'll come up with some alternatives, it's too radical a change, to let's take a chance, it's not my job, to I'll be glad to take the responsibility, from I can't to a positive I can do attitude. And there's no doubt that the sales team needs to bring their A game, winning A game every day, because industry ad revenues are now less than half they were in 2006. And closer to home, rapidly declining print revenue continues to be our core problem. While digital was up in 2012, net, the total business was down 16.5%. The key challenge is to stabilize print and grow digital, specifically national major accounts, as digital gains cannot offset print losses. The newspaper industry waters are treacherous and very competitive. Our sales team, Tony, Steve, and the entire sales team are swimming with the sharks every day. And it all comes full circle back to Big Philly, the Inquirer, Daily News, and Philly.com. It is the #1 media site in the region, reaching more adults than any other news network in the Philadelphia market. So to summarize 2013, the sales leadership team is not satisfied with the plan. IGM ownership is reaching out to their contacts in the market to generate incremental revenue. But at the end of the day, print advertising revenue is challenging. Digital mobile advertising can only stem some of the bleed. We need to look to circulation for revenue growth. IGM is strategically transitioning in the right direction with expanded coverage of local news, substantial changes in content, design, and layout aimed at fulfilling the needs of our readers. And we're making big, bold moves with the relaunch of Philly.com, where unique visitors are up 30% over the prior year, and already 50,000 plus new subscribers to the recently launched Subscriber Concierge for the digital editions of the Inquirer and Daily News. So what is Subscriber Concierge? It's one-stop customer service interface and destination, engaging our subscribers for a quality experience, where you can register for digital products, upgrade for Easy Pay, schedule vacation holds, report delivery issues, change your address, check for any promotions, and much, much more. Results to date are outstanding, exceeding expectations, up 27% versus target. And we're monitoring the metrics. We're delivering an experience users want, indicator of how good we are keeping readers coming back for more, and compelling content increases the level of engagement and affects downloads. And that brings us to circulation telemarketing. In January, we engaged the Pisa Group, a new sales partner, and they bring a complete outbound telemarketing service that strengthens the Enquirer and Daily News brands and overall subscriber quality. Quality starts, quality retention, and long-term growth. And we continue to monitor the metrics. Early results are trending positive. In January, we increased our price for home subscribers plus 16%. We are no longer deep discounting our products. After 4-week intro offers, we're selling it at full price. We're targeting competitive counties and zip codes, and the 8-week retention of 81 versus 68% last year, and Easy Pay starts are now 66% versus 41% last year. We are headed in the right direction. IGM will continue to rejuvenate and rebuild the brands and consumer perception. Our consumer promotions are designed to build awareness and drive readership. In the fall, we launched Subscribers Now Get Free Digital Access. We followed that up by customer care and then other promotions to win an iPad. Additionally, for the first time in many years, IGM is investing to establish positive brand awareness and reestablish consumer perception with a TV campaign which started February 18th. We have 5 commercials. I'm going to play you 3. The first commercials for the Enquirer and about local news.
Trust the Enquirer for what you need today, why it matters for tomorrow. Now, home delivery brings you free digital access. New subscribers enjoy 50% off your first 4 weeks. New expanded local coverage with information you won't find anywhere else from the city, suburbs, and South Jersey. What to do and where to go. Open, click, and touch. Subscribe at Enquirer.com/deal. All access everywhere you are.
From the market research, the consumers told us consumers are important, so we produced a coupon spot.
Trust the Enquirer for what you need today, why it matters for tomorrow. Now home delivery brings you free digital access. New subscribers enjoy 50% off your first 4 weeks. Coupons that can save you over $100 a week. The best local savings and the top national brands. Start saving now. Subscribe at Enquirer.com/offer. For $1 a day, you can save over $100 a week. Subscribe now.
And from the market research on the Daily News, we know that sports was important, so we produced a sports spot for the Daily News. And here it is.
Time to get in the game. The Daily News. Philadelphia block by block. Fast-breaking sports the way we love it. Now, updates throughout the day. Philly attitude with the expertise to back it up. Get it, click it, tap it, slam it. The best sports in town.
Are you kidding me?
New home delivery subscribers get 50% off the first 4 weeks with free digital access. Get in the game at PhillyDailyNews.com/offer. The Daily News, where Philly attitude comes to life.
So the initial results for the campaign are very, very encouraging. When we spend more dollars to consumers are responding. Initially, when we send consumers to our landing page, it's experienced a lot of traffic, and you can see when we run the commercial how the traffic builds. When we're on hiatus, the traffic goes down, but net, we're heading in the right direction. To summarize advertising, revenue, and circulation, we are cautiously optimistic about the future. We have 3 major assets. Number 1, we have enduring brands. Number 2, we have a high level of consumer engagement. And number 3, we need to deliver engaging and compelling content that consumers can't find anywhere else. I want to thank the entire sales team and everyone for all your hard work and dedication. Let's have a great year. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Mike Larenka, the Associate Publisher and Chief Operating Officer. Mike?
You don't have to tell me. I know you're all looking at the photo and wondering, what in the world does Dr. Phil know about operations? Hopefully I'll prove to you that I know more. Before I begin with the presentation, I want to do a quick shout out of congratulations to everyone that was involved in the launch of Daily News Weekend. I think if you haven't seen it, from editorial to production to the circulation distribution, our drivers were an incredible field promotions team going after every outlet. I know many of you were checking your personal outlets in your neighborhoods and seeing how the sale was going, and we appreciate all the support. Sales numbers are not in yet, but I think that it will prove to have been successful, and we're going to continue to grow it. Like all other media companies, we're looking for ways to diversify our revenue streams to supplement what George is talking about in the print and digital arenas. For a number of reasons, I'm confident that we can become a key player in the commercial services market. Now, in our local area alone, that marketplace is worth about $200 million. We have about a 5% market share right now, but we've challenged the operations team to double that for the rest of 2013. We can reach this goal because we have a unique value proposition in this marketplace. Unlike our competitors, we can offer one-stop shopping for bundled or unbundled services throughout the entire range of commercial printing and distribution, and we'll do it under the brand of Inquirer Commercial Services. Now, we can and do provide services in all these areas already, from printing and offset and the print shop to packaging with our inserting operations, transportation to trucking, both through warehouses and to our outlets, and our distribution network from household home delivery to our warehousing network. It can be leveraged to grow. Now, not every customer participates in all of these, but we have a depth and scope of services that's unequaled in this marketplace. This is just a slide to illustrate who our commercial printing partners are currently. You can see our most valuable partner, I guess you could say, is Dow Jones, with the publication of the Wall Street Journal and Barron's. But just last week, we signed a 3-year contract with Broad Street Media to print their Northeast Times and the Star. So we're very excited about that. That partnership will also offer additional advertising opportunities through their TMC products, joining with our Spree, and then also they have a series of weekly products that we'll be able to take advantage of again. These are our alternate delivery customers or partners. When I put this slide together, I didn't even realize that we had this many. Ed Delphin and his circulation distribution team have been quietly, secretly, but very effectively building a distribution franchise that leverages our warehousing and our network of independent delivery carriers. Now, from last July to February of this year, we went through a long negotiating session. Very cooperatively, our unions heard us about the need to grow commercial services, and we derived some very favorable provisions cooperatively with them to be able to grow our franchise. Some of these are flexible scheduling, modifying manning requirements, the ability to match our manning with the production needs of our customers was critical. We modified and shared jurisdiction across some units, and we have the ability to redesign certain jobs, and then also now to cross-train employees to be able to develop skill sets deeper and broader than we currently have. Now, non-labor cost savings are critical. The operations team has been very aggressive in terms of reducing our other operating costs. We took advantage of some new technology that provides the opportunity to have online auctions, and we're able to put our electricity costs out on auction, and we're able to save $300,000 per year in electricity costs. That's both rate and the avoidance of a rate surcharge that would have been otherwise imposed. On the fuel side, we used a very similar approach, and we were able to save $500,000 on an annual basis through rate reductions and volume reductions. Now also, we're constantly looking for new innovations in the production process. The most recent one is the advent of chemical-free plates that will save us about $72,000 a year. And also the operations team is constantly bidding out our supplies, whether they come from the printing source, the printing supply area, all the way to the building and janitorial. One of the major projects in 2012 and 13 was the conversion of our presses from the 48-inch web width to 44-inch. Within a few weeks of the owners taking control of the company, they were quick to approve the investment of $5 million in this conversion. As a result, we'll be saving nearly $1.4 million per year in newsprint and other printing cost supplies, providing an excellent payback somewhere between 3 and 4 years. This positioned us to be able to immediately begin seeking out smaller web width customers like Broad Street Media would not have been available to us as clients if we hadn't have restructured, converted our presses. Now, if we're successful with several other proposals we have to print daily newspapers in our local area, we're considering the conversion of 2 additional presses. Most of you know that beyond labor costs, newsprint is our single greatest expense. So we've put a lot of focus on this. In fact, during the 2013 budget process, the senior management team challenged the operations group to review the entire production process and come up with nearly $1 million, $900,000 worth of reductions in waste. That comes from all the way from the printing process, how much paper is used, to in the waste as we produce and start up the presses, to how many times we switch over, all the way to how many returns we have in the store outlets. Now, also in the purchasing side, we've been very aggressive with negotiating lower prices. Just since the budget process, we've been able to reduce our purchase price nearly 5%. We have some proposals that we're negotiating right now that would reduce our expenses by nearly 8%, which represents almost $100,000 savings per month off of the budget. Now, since I joined the company 6 years ago, workers' compensation costs have been a challenge, to say the least. And 1 year alone, the costs were $6.5 million. Now, as you can see, year over year, we're doing significantly better. Our claims numbers are half of what they were last year, and our claim costs are running about 30% lower. More importantly even, is that when employees are injured, 2 out of 3 times, there's medical care involved, of course, but there's no loss of time. They're not missing time from work, they're not missing pay. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what factors reduce workers' compensation costs. There's a lot of moving parts, but we're positive that a lot of the employee and manager training that we've conducted over the last 6 to 8 months, whether it's forklift operation and recertification of our employees, there's fleet safety training we've been conducting, there's accident reporting and investigation, and most of you know in Market Street we did extensive ergonomic training and modification of workplaces. So we're certain that this training has contributed positively and it'll be an ongoing effort. Now, we expect costs to further be reduced by the fact that we were able to expand our use of transitional duty across nearly all the jurisdictions in the company where workers' compensation costs are key, so that we can use more light duty and more modified duty and bring employees back to work quicker. In the systems and technology area, we have had a very challenging 2012 with some frustrating installations. And then at the beginning of 2013, we experienced some losses of key employees who had valuable skill sets, unique skill sets, and a vast institutional knowledge. But we brought in a new Chief Information Officer, Joe Seibert, who comes to us from the New York Times and other digital media, who's done a great job reorganizing the department, realigning the resources we have to be more matched up with the business needs and the projects that we have on our plate. He's also re-energized the department and created a more confident and a more collaborative work culture. And finally, he's developed a new approach to project management skills and is in the process of developing a long-needed technology strategy to support all the priorities that Bob talked about earlier. As you can see from this list of achievements just for 2013, the results are clear. The Systems and Technology Department played a key role in each of these projects, whether it was the upgrade of the replica and its relaunch, or the redesign of Philly.com and its relaunch, the development of the membership sites for the newspaper.coms. They've been involved in business reporting. They were key in the selection and now the implementation of a customer relationship management system that will support advertising and marketing, and the long awaited upgrade of our email system. Finally, in human resources, we have two key goals in 2013. The first is filling the talent gaps that we've experienced in the sales and advertising area. And the second is to build a custom performance management system across the company. Now, in the advertising recruiting area, we've expanded to take advantage of the new social media outlets that have been available by having a larger presence on LinkedIn. We're looking at opportunities in Twitter and Facebook. And we're also going to be retraining our managers and supervisors who are involved in the hiring and selection of sales professionals in the latest techniques in behavioral-based interviewing, which have shown to create a higher retention rate. And then finally, Chris Bonaduce has been leading a steering committee that is reviewing the performance management systems in place and designing and developing a new system for especially the newsroom at first, which will then be rolled out to the other guild positions and the independent groups. So across the entire operations unit, you can see that we've had some significant accomplishments already in 2013, but we still have some very ambitious goals, and with the support of senior management and the ownership group, we're confident and optimistic that we'll attain those. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Now we're going to have some comments from our owners, and we'll do it in alphabetical order, and Bill Hankowski, and then Lou Katz, and then George Norcross.
Thanks, Bob. I'll be very brief. We've spent way too much time talking to you, and we should talk a little bit together and hear what you have to say. But I have three very basic points. Number one is, I just want to say thank you. You all have gone through a lot over the last several years, right? You have 2 years of this operation being in bankruptcy, a year and a half owned by hedge funds, and then being patient with us for a year to get our arms around this and try to get this thing on the right path. So your efforts and your patience is appreciated. My second point, I just want to emphasize what Bob and everyone else has said. Much of this presentation now is about growth, not contraction. So it's about growing the product, it's about growing the advertising revenue, it's about growing the circulation, it's about growing our customer base. And I think that in my mind, we're at an inflection point. So this isn't about pull it in, right size. This is now about how do we build on where we've been. So that I find very exciting, and I hope you share that excitement. And my third point is about change. The one thing we all have to recognize is it is a different world, and it will forever be different. Change is coming fast, it's constant, and you just have to deal with it. I'm in the real estate business. That's what I mainly get paid to worry about. If we didn't pay attention to the fact that more and more of our customers are using less and less space, a la the article that was about Glaxo in their new building on Friday, we would lose our market position. We need to not react to our customers, we need to lead our customers. And I think that applies here also. This is a company that provides a stunning product that our customers want, but we shouldn't be reacting, we should be leading. And that's the phase we'd like to get in, the leading phase and not the reacting phase. So thanks, and I'll pass it to Lou.
I just want to echo Bill said it as eloquently as I could certainly put it. You've been through hell, to say the least. And sitting up here, I want to tell you how appreciative we are for the way that you conducted the labor negotiations and the way that you voted in the labor negotiations. Without that happening, we wouldn't be having a meeting, nor would we be having a paper or two papers. So there is no question that you are the significant part of this partnership and team. And I want to express to you, knowing how incredibly difficult the last few years have been, how much I appreciate what you have done and where you've been. Hopefully now we can see the future, which I think Bill again summarized. It's all about advertising. It's all about advertising. That revenue has come down so dramatically, and there just has to be a bottom. It has to stabilize, and then we have to figure out a way to build back at least some of what we've lost over the last 5 years. But that having been said, that's our problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a little bit more than a year since we closed on this transaction, and I'd like to suggest a few optimistic conclusions that have been reached in that last year and reached as a result of what you saw and heard here today. Number one, home subscriptions and home subscribers revenue is growing, and it hasn't been growing for a long time. Number two, almost 60,000 of our subscribers have enrolled in the digital replica project in the last several months. That's an extraordinary number. What that tells you is that our customers find what we're doing is relevant. Now, it may be print, it may be digital, it may be in other means. But that tells you that the importance of being relevant and more relevant is what this community is interested in, what our customers want. The last most encouraging point is the least discussed, in part because I don't think most people absorbed or felt what happened. And it would suggest that perhaps this should have happened earlier. The price increase that went into effect in the beginning of this year has almost without exception been embraced and received in this community. That would tell you that discounting the product in the past to dollar subscriptions or renewals for $1 perhaps were not a good strategy. I'm optimistic that we can do in Philadelphia what hasn't been done anywhere in this country, which is to reintroduce a print publication which is part of a digital strategy and in giving to the customer what they've asked for and what they've desired. Let me thank you again for your last year and the years of which you've given service to this company. And hopefully next year we'll be having a celebration that we've done what we've all tried to do. Thank you.